Hey guys, Rafflecopter back, and today's video, I want to take some time to kind of talk about just life in general. Uh, I haven't posted much in the last couple of years. I think it's been about 4 years before since I last did videos like full time, and I decided I really want to get back into it um, for a couple reasons. Um, I've had a lot of life changes here in the last 4 years. Just in case you're wondering, I mean, if you can't tell from the fact that I don't show my face or anything but my hands really, I am currently 33, and I graduated college in 2007. Um, I just got married here, whatever, a year ago. We just bought a house recently. I now have a son who's coming up on a year. So I've had a lot of stuff happen, and a lot of just life stuff. I mean, life just happened, and I just wanted to take a minute, to really talk about this, and the whole thing with stacking, and silver's kind of what silver and gold, is what got me into all this, and I still have silver. I sold a lot of my gold, but there's so many things that have happened lately, just in the last couple of years, that really kind of, I don't know if I'd say humble, just kind of really make you understand, your place in the universe. For instance, what I'd say probably the biggest life change, and it's kind of funny. I met my wife just right around the time that I was doing YouTube. Like 4 years ago. We started dating July of 2014, and I was doing this. I kind of slowed down because we were, full time couple and everything, and I just had stuff going, and I got busy, whatever. Um, but then, you know, whatever, February 2017, I had to have surgery, and it's one of these things that just came out of nowhere. I forget if I talked about it when I was doing YouTube back in the day, but just to kind of explain, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this is I'm trying to let you understand the not only the power of kind of how you build your financial fortress here, but also the importance of it. Um, because you never know when stuff's going to happen, and it's great to be prepared, and it's important to understand how prepared you actually are. And when it comes to jobs, I've had two major kind of upendings, and they weren't really that big of a deal because I was prepared for them. But for instance, I graduated college 2007. I started working right out of school. Within a couple of weeks, I had a job after graduating. I started working for an auto supplier in Michigan, which, by the way, if anybody ever wonders if I'm from Michigan, yes, I am. I live in Michigan. And it was kind of funny because somebody, of all the stuff that I remember doing YouTube 4 years ago, somebody had asked me in the comments, "Are you from Michigan?" And at the time, it was kind of creepy because, it's like, really, is my accent that obvious? But apparently it is. So, and I hope you guys don't mind. I'm using the watch as a background here just to kind of remind you that time's ticking, and the clock doesn't stop. But anyway, so I graduated college 2007. I went into auto. Um, my dad told me two things when I graduated, right around the time I graduated college. Said, whatever you do, don't work in auto, because he does, and don't work in HR, because he does. And of course, what do I do? My first job is working in an HR department for an auto supplier. Fast forward about 11 and a half months from there, things start getting pretty crazy. Recession's coming. Adios, Rafflecopter, you're out on the street. My parents were nice enough to let me live with them. And I mean, I was living with them the whole time, but they were nice enough to allow me to continue living with them and, get back on my feet, blah, blah, blah. But what's crazy is, right before that, I was car shopping. I mean, I still had my first car from high school. took it all the way through college, used it the whole time working there, and it was starting to show its age. I mean, I had a little 98 Cherokee, and yeah, I just had oil leaks and everything. I mean, it was just, you know, I could put the money in to replace the seals and everything, but it was just starting to show its age. Everything was just dry rotted, and so, you know, I was car shopping, and in the course of, whatever, 2 weeks, I went from car shopping to no job, with zero warning. Just, you know, I looked up from my desk around lunch, noticed everybody was gone. Boss said, "Hey, we got to talk." Walked me in the office. I was at my car, put my box in my trunk about 15 minutes later. I've always kind of been a little sour about that because I don't feel that the criteria that was used to can me was really fair. I mean, I don't think that, you know, I understand that, you know, things were happening internally at the company. I mean, there was stuff out of my control. But I don't think that the data or, you know, the performance stuff, there weren't any goals that were agreed upon. So, you know, I think it's kind of hard, you know, just as an employee, it's kind of hard to can somebody saying, you know, whatever, when I don't even have agreed upon goals or any of that. So, you know, it was just kind of one of these things where, I mean, you know, there was a combination of factors, but, you know, whatever. I bounced back from that. Of course, you know, the recession was hitting. It took me about 9 months to get a job after that. And that was after I was taking, you know, a couple months just to kind of decompress and, you know, get over, you know, the job was just a nightmare. So I kind of took a couple of months here to relax and, you know, just kind of unwind. But even after I started taking the job search seriously, I think it took me another 6 months to actually land a job. And things were so rotten in my area at the time. You know, I mean, just the economy was just contracting so hard that even with a college degree and, you know, some experience, I had 2 interviews in the course of 9 months. And the second interview, I got the job. And I started working in a call center. It was neat. You know, I kind of took the job just because, you know, whatever. I needed a job, and, you know, the work sounded okay. I mean, you know, whatever. Answer calls. It was for a cable company. I won't give the name, but, you know, it was a neat job, but it was a job. I mean, I took it as a paycheck. You know, they offered some tuition reimbursement, which, you know, thought about taking them up on and getting my master's, you know, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I started working there, you know, did pretty good, got the recognition I was looking for, you know, got promoted, got raises, you know, my annual raises every year, you know, got bonuses, got little performance incentives. I mean, you know, just all the stuff that you hope that you would get with a job. And, you know, so after, you know, a couple of years of that, I moved on to another department in the company. I moved to retention. So, you know, instead of doing like billing and you know, video troubleshooting, I was, you know, doing cancellations and, you know, kind of counter sales type of stuff, you know, where somebody calls up because they got a deal from so-and-so. And, you know, my job is to explain to them, you know, why they should stay and, you know, what's the benefit of staying with the company versus switching to a competitor, and, you know, just all the general, you know, customer retention type of stuff. And that was going along great, you know, same thing. I mean, I was hitting my commissions and, you know, was moving up. You know, I was trying to find, you know, a job in management. You know, I was trying to kind of make the jump from the phones to, you know, more of a off the phones, behind the scenes type of thing. And it was somewhere late 2016. I want to say it was probably about November, December time frame. Just started getting this sore throat. And it came and went, but it never like went away all the way. And working on the phones full time, I mean, talking literally 10 hours a day, you know, any little thing with your throat really kind of, you notice it. I mean, I guess it'd be the same as if you're an athlete and you have a bum knee, or, you know, you do construction and you have a bad back. I mean, it's something that doesn't go away, and the work's not helping. So, you know, fast forward whatever, January, say a couple months later, a month and a half later, had some real bad acid reflux, cooked my throat real bad one morning, went to work, could just feel stuff grinding. I mean, just, my throat was so raw. And I was just talking and, I could just feel it just rubbing raw. And, of course, my tonsils were getting bad. I mean, my tonsils had been swelling for a couple of years. I just noticed that they were getting bigger. And so anyway, fast forward another maybe 6 weeks. Here we are, like mid-February. I can't even talk. I mean, like, literally just saying hi, I'm about ready to gag. I cannot speak a word without being in significant discomfort. And then, I ended up going to the emergency room, and they checked me out. They referred me to an ENT, ear, nose, throat guy. He scoped me, said, "Hey, your tonsils gotta come out," and it's probably 2 to 3 week recovery. And so, well, that sucks, but whatever, we gotta do what we gotta do. Okay. Well, so he pulls me out of work immediately. I have the surgery like a week later. Try going back to work a few times. Not happening. Keep trying to go back. I tried for a couple of months to go back. My throat just would not keep up with the work. And that's when we talked about possibly going on, some sort of long-term disability. It's like, what the hell? I was, employee of the month a couple years before this. I mean, I was always in the top 10 or 25% for the company for this position. I mean, I was, I was never number one, but I was always a high-end performer. And to go from that to now you can't talk. In fact, not even talk. Forget talking. Let's just see if you can get through the day without being in misery. And it took forever for this to go away. I bet you it took me over a year for my throat to actually start to feel back to normal. But during that whole time, guys, I didn't have a job. Okay? I started a home business. I sell on eBay and Amazon full time. I want to see if I can create an income stream on YouTube. I wrote a Kindle book, which I'll be sure to push hard here in the next couple of videos. But there's so many things that have changed that, if I was living paycheck to paycheck, that would have been it. Man, I would have been toast. The tow truck would have been pulling away with my car. Thankfully, my car was paid off years before that. I bought a Jeep in 2009, had the thing paid off, I think in 2012, 13 maybe. So, I wouldn't say I was on an easy street, but, I took the time to prepare. I didn't go out to the bar every night and drink half my paycheck away, a couple nights a week. I didn't go eat it out. I brown bagged it for years. So I did, lots of stuff that I think are really, lots of things that are really underestimated in how you build your financial security. And I mean, just having a couple of months of savings is one thing. I mean, that's great, but you never know. I mean, I didn't think that it would be a year and a half later and, I'm doing my stuff full time, but even if I didn't have this home business, I don't know if I could depend on my throat long enough to get me through a work day. I mean, it's one of those things, it's that touchy sometimes. And so anyway, enough bitching here. I just wanted to let you know, that you really got to think about your future. I mean, if you work with your hands, if you lost your hands, what would you do? I mean, really, other than have a pity party, what would you do to keep the lights on? If you were on your feet all day, if you, say you worked on a shop floor and, whatever, you push a broom, I don't care what you do. I mean, we need people to push brooms, we need people to haul boxes, it's honest work, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you're standing on the shop floor packing a box and the high-low comes, clips you, and takes your feet off, what would you do? I mean, would you be ready to switch automatically to writing books or whatever you can do with your hands? Take a call center job. I mean, going back to school is great. I don't blame anybody for doing it. I mean, I did it. I've gone back and taken master's classes, and I'm about halfway to an MPA, but I never finished. But the thing is you never know when something like this is going to come along. Um, I was fortunate enough to pay attention and live a conservative lifestyle that allowed me to kind of, I don't know if I'd say I'm work optional, but you know I've gone a year and a half without a full-time income, and I sleep fine at night. So just think about it. Think about how much money you spend every day on stuff that you don't need. Cancel your cable. Yeah, I used to work for a cable company. You don't need that shit. Cancel it. Unless you watch sports. If you're a sports nut, you're screwed. Sorry. That's just the plain and short of it. Switch to piracy or just pay the bill. Everybody else, though, if you're into movies or TV shows, stuff other than live sports, you'll probably be okay. You can get away with Netflix or Hulu or streaming, whatever. I don't know. Switch to buying movies on Amazon for $4, $5. Whatever. Just look at how much you spend and think about the value of your dollar and how far a dollar goes and how far it doesn't go. Because when you really think about it, I think you'd be surprised at how much you spend. I mean, every time I go out to dinner, for me and my wife, my kid's free. Okay, he's not even a year. He's free. He doesn't even eat the kiddie menu. He gets a couple of spoonfuls off our plate. But for the two of us, aside from a family diner down the street, everywhere we go, it's probably $30 to $50. And we're not talking fancy plates. I mean, I'm not eating steak every night. So anyway, guys, I just want to leave you with some of these thoughts. We'll talk about them more. Please let me know what you think in the comments. As always, like and subscribe. I'd love to build the channel. And TikTok, guys, the clock doesn't stop.